Hello and welcome. My name is Clay. Thank you for clicking on this video and giving me a chance. Good on you. We are moving on with the NHL's return to play formats. We are past the qualifiers now. Those were so last week. We're on to the actual playoff rounds now. 16 teams remaining to fight for the Stanley Cup. We're going to go through each and every series of this first round. I'll give a little bit of a preview, give you my picks as well. And you may ask, Clay, how can I trust you? How good have you been at predicting the future so far? And I will tell you, in the qualifiers, I got 6 out of the 8 series correct. So that's 3 out of 4, 75%. I've been out of school a while, but I believe that's a passing grade. So I will take it. I've certainly done worse. But anyhow, let's begin out east with a rematch of the Eastern Conference Final, the 4th-seeded Boston Bruins against the 5th-seeded Carolina Hurricanes. The Boston Bruins, of course, runners-up in the Stanley Cup Final last year, came into the regular season with a chip on their shoulder, some motivation, and they had a great regular season. Top record in the Eastern Conference. Tuukka Rask, Vezina Trophy finalist. They were great. And then the pandemic hit, and that seemed to have cooled them down. In the round robin, they just haven't played like the Boston Bruins we expect. Their perfection line has been less than perfect. And there's a question on, can they just flip that switch when the games actually matter? That remains to be seen, but you tend to give them the benefit of doubt because, well, they're the Boston Bruins and they've got quite a bit of talent on that roster. Meanwhile, you have the Carolina Hurricanes who just came off the sweep over the New York Rangers in the qualifying round. The only team to sweep their opponent is those bunch of jerks, right? Although can't really feel too bad for the Rangers considering they just got the first overall pick after picking second last year. So really, maybe the Carolina Hurricanes aren't really as much jerks as we make them out to be. But the Hurricanes, don't sleep on them. They are fantastic as well. This series will not be a sweep like last year. In fact, I'm going to go the other way and say that the Hurricanes are going to get their revenge over Boston this year. I'm going to say the Hurricanes win in, you know what, it's going to go the full 7 games. Hurricanes in 7. Next up in the Eastern Conference, we have the 3-seeded Washington Capitals against the 6-seeded New York Islanders. The Washington Capitals, they've been here before. They got the talent. They've got the leadership. Ovechkin, Backstrom, big body Wilson, led on the back end by Carlson. They got Holtby backing them up. They've been here before. They know how to get it done. They're going up against a New York Islanders team fresh off a qualifying round series win against the Florida Panthers, a team that is looking to make playoff memories of their own. Great move at the deadline to get a guy like Pajot, and they're led by Washington's former coach, Barry Trotz. I think this is going to be a very, very good series. I think this is going to be a greasy series, a series that comes down to Game 7, some puck luck, and I'm going to say the puck luck bounces the way of New York. The Islanders take this series in 7 games. Moving on in the Eastern Conference, we have another rematch from last year. We have the 2nd-seeded Tampa Bay Lightning against the 7th-seeded Columbus Blue Jackets. Tampa Bay, of course, all the talent in the world, but just can't find a way to get over that hump. Absolutely humiliated last year by Columbus getting swept after going up 3-0 in the first game. That's pretty embarrassing. So they got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They want to get revenge on Columbus. Columbus coming off a big 5-game series win against the Toronto Maple Leafs in the qualifying round. They play a suffocating style, right? That's Tortorella's style. But Tampa Bay, I think this is their year. I picked all the way back in October of 2019, almost a year ago now, because of this whole pandemic. For these playoffs, I picked Tampa Bay to make it to the Stanley Cup Final. So I have to go with them here. I just got to stick with my pick. Now, if Hedman is out serious time, this could be just another replay of last year. But if he's able to play, I think they have a good chance. And so I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to assume he's able to play. I think the Lightning are going to take this one. Once again, I think another series that goes 7 games. Tampa Bay in 7. And for the final matchup in the Eastern Conference, we have the top-seeded Philadelphia Flyers against the original 12th-seeded, now 8th-seeded Montreal Canadiens. Canadiens, of course, shocking the world. They weren't even supposed to be here. And they go and beat the Pittsburgh Penguins in 4 games in the qualifying round. Not a lot of people, if any, picked them to do that. But they got a much more difficult task here going up against the Philadelphia Flyers, who look absolutely fantastic right now. I mean, they mopped the floor in the round robin. They were super, super impressive. And yeah, they've won me over. I think the Flyers win this series. I think the Canadiens' road, unfortunately, comes to the end. I think the Philadelphia Flyers move on in 5 games. Heading out west now. We're going to start with the 4th-seeded St. Louis Blues against the 5th-seeded Vancouver Canucks. Obviously, the Blues, Stanley Cup champions last year for the first time in franchise history, looking to defend their title this year. But just like the Bruins, they had the best record in their respective conference during the regular season, just to play poorly during this return-to-play format. Round robin didn't do so hot. They got shut out in their exhibition game. I don't know why I brought that up. I just did. No reason, really. But yeah, instead of having the 1st seed, they dropped all the way down to the 4th seed, and so now they got to play a young and talented Vancouver Canucks team. They got, Calder finalist and Quinn Hughes. They got Markstrom, who's had a great year. They're looking to make waves in their first trip back to the playoffs in a number of years. Although the Blues haven't looked great so far, I feel like they're just kind of getting their feet under them, and they're looking to hit their stride during this round here. And I think they're going to end up being a little too much for the Vancouver Canucks. So I've got the Blues, unfortunately, winning this series in 6 games. Moving on to the next series in the Western Conference, we have the 3-seeded Dallas Stars against the 6-seeded Calgary Flames. Dallas hasn't looked very good as of late. Ended the regular season on a poor note. That hasn't really changed yet so far in this return to play. Their round robin performance has been uninspiring. Bishop seems a little banged up, although Khudobin has had a really good year. So I think they're fine with him backstopping, but he's going to have to play well in this series, and the team in front of him is going to have to find the scoring touch because they just could not score during the round robin. Meanwhile, you have the Calgary Flames coming off a feisty series victory over the Winnipeg Jets. They really impressed me during that series with their tenacity. And they got some scoring touch. They can get some goaltending when they need it, although it's a little bit iffy. But I think this is a team that will frustrate the Dallas Stars and create some problems and some probably penalties from the Dallas Stars. So I'm going to pick the Calgary Flames in this series. I'm going to say they're going to get it done in 6 games. Next up in the Western Conference, we have the 2nd-seeded Colorado Avalanche against the 7th-seeded, your original 11th-seed, Arizona Coyotes. Coyotes went all in for this year, went out and got Taylor Hall and Phil Kessel. They've got Clayton Keller. They've got Connell Garland. They have Nicholas Hjalmarsson. They have Oliver Ekman-Larsson. They have the Kachinas. But they have to go up against the Colorado Avalanche, a team that's really, really good. I'm surprised the Avalanche didn't get the 1st seed in the West. It was a close one. They went to overtime against Vegas to determine that seed. They just are not a very good overtime team. They could have easily had the number 1 seed, and I would not be surprised if they represented the West in the Stanley Cup final. This is a really, really, really good team. And I just don't think the Arizona Coyotes have the firepower to match up with it. If the Arizona Coyotes are going to win this series, Darcy Kuemper has to be as good as he's been all year, which he's been really good. He's going to have to be that and then some. He's going to have to steal this series just like he stole the series against the Nashville Predators, and I just unfortunately do not see that happening. I think Colorado's going to win this series in 5. Speaking of really good teams, let's move on to the final matchup in the Western Conference. Top-seeded Vegas Golden Knights against the 8th-seeded, your original 12th seed, Chicago Blackhawks. Vegas Golden Knights, like I mentioned, beat out the Colorado Avalanche for that top seed. They're a really good team, well-rounded team. They didn't even need their top scorer in the round robin to get the top seed. Max Pacioretty wasn't there for them. He will be in this round. He is joining the team in the bubble now, and this team just got better. Who will they start in goal? Will it be Marc-Andre Fleury? Will it be Robin Lehner? You know, the Robin Lehner that Chicago traded them at the trade deadline. What a twist this is. The Blackhawks shocking the world in the qualifying round, upsetting the 5th-seeded Oilers. But they're going to have their hands full with this Vegas Golden Knights team. A lot more well-rounded team that they're going to have to face. However, it is the Blackhawks. They do have Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane and Duncan Keith and some other good young talent, and they got Crawford who can steal some games. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull off another upset, but I'm also a little bit biased, but I'm also a little bit of a realist. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Vegas Golden Knights are going to win the series, but I'm going to be a little biased. I'm going to say this goes the full 7 games, so Vegas in 7. So there you have it. Those are my picks for the first round of these Stanley Cup pandemic playoffs. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate that as always. But most importantly, stay safe, make good decisions, and I'll see you next time.